Now in this clip, we're going to do another brush effect, but we're going to do it a little bit differently in that we're going to create a very fine mist brush surrounding the ice cubes and the splash elements and such like that. But this brush we're going to be creating from scratch. Unlike the ice cube, which we created from a photo, we're going to go ahead and make this one entirely from scratch using some filters right here inside Photoshop. So we're going to go to the File menu and go to New to create a new document to build this in. And go ahead and make it 1500 by 1500 pixels as a square format. And right down here, we're going to set the background contents to white. So go ahead and click Create. And the first thing you want to do is make sure your default colors are set. Go ahead and press D on the keyboard to set your default black and white colors. And then you go to the Filter menu, go down here to Noise, and choose Add Noise. Right down here, you're going to set the amount to 400%. And then just below that, set the distribution to Gaussian, and then check on monochromatic. And then click OK. Now the next thing you're going to do is go into the filter menu again, and this time go to blur and choose Gaussian blur. Here you want to do a rather small blur. I really wouldn't go above 5 pixels, but in this case I'm going to go ahead and do it at 3, and then go ahead and click OK. And now what I want to do is actually adjust the contrast to create the particle effect. So we're going to do that using levels. So go ahead and press Command or Control L to bring up the levels dialog. And right here, we're going to take the highlight and shadow sliders at each end and basically push them toward the center. So I'm going to go ahead and take the dark slider and push it in a little bit right here. And let's grab the highlight slider, push it in as well. And what we're going for here is to create a very fine particle of the black elements here. So you notice how it looks like falling snow, like inverted falling snow in a sense. So by adjusting the contrast, we can determine how much of the particles we want to see. If we want to see a lot less, push the white slider closer to the shadow slider, pull it apart to get even more of it. We want to get a good amount of particles, but not too many. So something like this, I think, will be just fine. So once you have it there, go ahead and click OK. And I could define it as a brush now, but the problem is it's going to pick up some of the particles that are along the edge, and you'll actually see that straight edge as part of the brush. So to eliminate that, let's go ahead and fade the edges here. So I'm going to go ahead in the toolbar and grab the gradient tool here. And up here, we're going to again make sure that we have the foreground to transparent gradient selected. And press D, then X to make sure that white is set as your foreground color. Now, unlike before, we've been using the radial gradient. We are actually going to use the linear gradient this time, so make sure you click on that very first one here in the options bar. So now what we're going to do is hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to start at the very top edge of the image here and just drag down to add the gradient. So just drag it down. Now, actually, you're going to want to do it more than one time. So I'm actually going to do it 2 or 3 times until we get all those particles to really just kind of disappear. Now, you're going to continue to do this all around the image. I'm going to go over here to the right side. Again, hold the Shift key down and just drag in a little bit. Again, at the bottom, Shift, drag up. And then over here on the left side, Shift, drag in. So we're just creating this fade all around the image here. So we end up with just a small cluster of the dark particles right here in the middle. With that, we are now going to go ahead into the Edit menu. Go ahead and define Brush Preset, just as we did before. Again, you do not have to make a selection because it will ignore the white areas surrounding it. So we'll just call this Particle Brush 1. And I've discovered, actually, this brush has a lot of different uses beyond what we're using it for here. So you can really have a lot of fun experimenting once you've got it created. So once we got the brush made, let's jump back over to our working image and go ahead and select the brush tool. Now I'm going to go down here and make sure I have the new brush selected. Again, it'll be located at the very bottom of your brush menu here. So if you just click right down here, there it is right there. And if we go into our image, now of course, let's make sure we have a new layer created. We don't want to paint on the existing ice cube layer. So go ahead and create a new blank layer at the very top of the layer stack here. And if we just dab a couple of times, you can see that we've got the kind of particles that we're looking for here. So I'm going to go and do a select all and delete just to make sure we clear that layer. Now let's modify the behavior of the brush a little bit before we start painting. So go ahead and open up the brush options. Just click on the brush icon up here in the options bar, or just simply go to the window menu and choose brush. Now in here, we're going to go in and activate shape dynamics as we did a moment ago. Size jitter, I'm going to go ahead and take that up to 100%. Angle jitter, again, 100%. Don't really need to do the flip X and flip Y. It's a little bit more abstract. You wouldn't really even notice it. But we are going to go down here and activate transfer. Now up here we're going to set the opacity jitter to 100%. What that's going to do is randomize the opacity or the intensity of it as we paint. So if I start painting now, you'll see that it looks a little bit more lightly misted rather than just blatantly hitting those particle elements right with a full white. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of dab around the base of the can where the splash and ice elements are, and that's going to add a little bit of a mistiness to our splash element, selling it a little bit better. So notice that right there. So if I turn that layer on and off, you'll see that what it's adding here, it's really adding something to the overall atmosphere. We can enhance that yet again by going and grabbing that smudge tool that we've been using up till now, and then just going in and just lightly just giving a smudge in certain areas of that particle effect. Don't smudge all of the particles, but you want to give some of them a little bit of a nudge just to give that sense of movement once again. So we're just going to dab a few there, and I think that looks pretty good. Turn the layer on and off. You can really see it's a subtle effect, but it really adds something to the atmosphere of the ice and the splashes and everything like that just by adding those simple particle effects. All right, so now we've got our ice cubes in place. We've got our particles in place. Now what I need to do is adjust the positioning of the can and perhaps even enhance the lighting on the can now that we've got all the background elements in place. And that's what we're going to take a look at in the next clip.